which, particularly the Scandinavian countries, they do a lot of things, the education systems and whatever, are a lot better than ours, but we never seem to take any notice of this. They talk about it, but they never actually follow suit, do they, and put these plans in place?
Well, they do, but they're not good enough. There's a sort of too little, too late, and it's the fault of the kind of political system we've got. I'm afraid, it's pretty much like Yes Minister days.
Very much.
Series.
Yeah. It's the mindset of this country, isn't it? Build a motorway, but we'll only build it with 2 lanes, and then in 5 years' time we'll cause massive disruption by putting a 3rd lane in, and then 5 years later massive destruction again by putting 4 lanes. So why not put 4 lanes in the first place?
It's no reminding this, isn't it? No forethought.
I mean, it's like this HS2 or whatever they call it, rail link, which it's just mind-boggling. Not going to be operational till 1930 or something.
1930,
2030.
You think there'd be better use of resources, but there's got to be a better way. But what we have to do is teach people to become financially self-sufficient, because quite frankly, you're going to have to rely on your own resources in future. You can't rely on the government.
Do you think this is something that should happen in schools?
There is a personal finance education group that's slowly bringing this into schools. But yes, you should be teaching kids from a very young age how to become financially free, because we've found that our most successful clients, this will surprise you, they're not the highest earners. No. They're just ordinary people that have had ordinary jobs, but they've consistently put away typically 10% of what they've earned all their lives, and now they're in a very good financial position where they can retire at 55, 60, spend 3 months abroad on holidays. They've got all the money they'll ever need just by simple financial discipline. So in a way, I think having a welfare state that was brought in just to be a temporary support for people after the war has just grown and grown and grown, and it's too easy, I'm afraid, to fall back and live on state benefits. And we probably all know people who are living that way, and I feel sorry for them, and I feel sorry for the taxpayer who's supporting it. Because not much of a life, but you can't live that way, can you? Because there's only so much tax you can raise off of people. I think many people would like the chance to go to work, but they're denied it and living on benefits. It's a bit sad, really.
Fascinating topic, Tony, and I hope you stay with us for a couple of minutes or two. We'll take a break now and have one of my favourite Christmas records, at any rate, from Mud, when I can get it to go. There we go.
Not a home. Trying to imagine the Christmas all alone. That's where I'll be since you left me. My tears could melt the snow. What can I do without you? I've got no place to go. It'll be lonely this Christmas without you. Lonely this Christmas, lonely and cold. It'll be cold, so cold, without you to hold this Christmas. Each time I remember the day you went away, the things you had to say, I just break down as I look around, and the only things I see are emptiness and loneliness and an unlit Christmas tree. It'll be lonely this Christmas without you to hold. It'll be lonely this Christmas, lonely and cold. It'll be cold, so cold, without you to hold this Christmas. You remember last year when you and I were here? We never thought there'd be an end.
I remember looking at you then, and I remember thinking that Christmas must have been made for us. Because, darling, this is the time of year that you really need love. When it means so very, very much. It'll be lonely. So it'll be lonely this Christmas. Without you to hold. It'll be so very lonely. Lonely and cold. It'll be lonely this Christmas without you to hold. It'll be lonely this Christmas. Lonely and cold. It'll be cold, so cold without you to hold. This Christmas. Merry Christmas, darling, wherever you are.
Merry Christmas, darling.
Yeah,
it does sound like Elvis.
I love that bit at the end, you know.
It's mud, isn't
Merry
it?
Christmas, everyone, you know. Yeah, that's.
He's trying to take off Elvis, isn't he?
Tony Byrne is in the studio with us this morning. We're talking finances, etc. Tony, can we wind the clock back to sort of when you first got involved with it? Because I'm sure that you've obviously been around a little while, but things must have changed quite considerably from when you first went into it. What made
dramatic.
you first go into it?
Well, it's a good question, actually. Really good question. I don't tell many people this, but I'm an ex-accountant.
You were my accountant one time.
a big accountant, yeah.
And if anyone remembers Monty Python's jokes about accountants, it's not something you publicly admitted, but I was an accountant. And then luckily, I decided to specialise in personal tax, and I met a personal financial planning manager in a firm of accountants I worked for at the time, locally, Grant Thornton. And this financial planning manager really blew my mind, because from a job where you're recording history, accountancy and tax, we started making history. We're doing forward financial planning to help people plan to retire early and create wealth. And I found that really exciting. And I thought I'm doing something really useful for people, proactively planning ahead. And so I haven't looked back since. So I formed my own company and decided to set up, and as we foolish people do, start businesses not realising how challenging it is, and it was really tough. But just by sheer perseverance, it seems to have paid off in the long run, and now we've got quite a lot of clients, and it's a successful business. But it's been a not very easy journey.
You say we? How many of you?
Well, there's only 6 of us. It's a fairly boutique-sized type of business. But
Which is nice, really.
We've got about 75 million under management now, and we expect that to grow to 100 million by next year. So we've got many, many clients, mostly baby boomers, 55-plus-year-olds. They're very humble, ordinary people. They don't have big houses, generally. They don't have flash cars. They've just been really smart with their money, really. And they all put their success down to me, but it's not. It's down to them.
Well, they've got to pay you in the first place, haven't they? You know. But let's come on to this thing. We were chatting while the record was playing about bitcoins. Now, this seems to be something that's becoming sort of much more well known than it was. Maybe I don't know. Maybe even 9 months ago, 12 months ago. I mean,
well, I agree.
They've been around a long time, haven't they? But
didn't this start with the dark web? Didn't it get promoted largely on the dark web?
I'm not sure about that. I mean, there is a dark side to it, in that it's reputed that there's a lot of criminal money goes into bitcoins, because it's the only type of coin in the world that's not controlled by central government. It's purely digital, created by code. I defy anyone who really understands what a bitcoin is. Now, the returns have been unbelievably good, but I would warn any listener to be very wary of investing any money at all, because at the moment it's more akin to a gamble than anything else. The price rises have been off the Richter scale. To give you an example, in the last 12 months, there is a type of Bitcoin, one of the most highly rated Bitcoins, called Ethereum. The rise in the last 12 months, 7,517.3%.
Well, it sounds like one of these loan companies, isn't it?
Well, except it's the other way. This is to grow your money.
That's right.
Now, we feel that's totally unsustainable. I do think Bitcoin is the coin of the future, but I think at these rates, I think investing now, although, to be fair, the price could continue to rise. I could say to you, don't invest in Bitcoins, it could double in the next 12 months, but I'll be amazed if it doesn't have a big crash in the next couple of years. I'd be really surprised.
So who controls this?
There's no one controlling it. That's the problem. That's the problem and the advantage. There's no one controlling it. It's just created by code. And
there's no physical bitcoins.
No,
it's digital.
It's a digital currency.
Digital currency, yeah.
I think it is the coin of the future. Now, it's based on what's called the blockchain, which again something many people don't understand. But the blockchain is a digital ledger, and it's going to transform the world because you're going to be able to transfer assets and title to assets very, very securely. Much more securely than today, and very quickly at virtually no cost, which will completely destroy many jobs of intermediaries. I can imagine buying a house within seconds and not needing a lawyer. So it's a death knell for anyone in conveyancing. And also for stockbrokers, you'd be able to transfer shares between one person and another. It'd be immediate, and there'd be no need to have an intermediary. So the whole concept of Bitcoin and the blockchain is very much here to stay, but I just think it's in a massive bubble, and it reminds me of some of the bubbles in history of Tulipomania, the South Sea bubble, the dot-com boom, which is more recent, and it just prices cannot rise at this level forever. Nobody understands it. People are speculating. I've heard of people selling houses and investing the whole proceeds of the house like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 into bitcoins. I think it's a massive risk. If you've got money you can afford to lose...
It's a bit like a barter system, surely, isn't it?
Well, it is genuinely a currency. You can use the currency to buy and sell things, but the trouble is not many organisations allow bitcoins yet. There is someone selling a house on Rightmove at the moment, a very expensive house in London, and they will only accept bitcoins for the sale of the house. So it will grow, but I think there's going to be a crash first, and then in 5 years' time it will just be standard.
How did it start?
There was a Japanese... It's reputed a Japanese guy created it through code about 7 or 8 years ago, when bitcoins... Literally 7 or 8 years ago, a bitcoin would cost you like 1 or 2 cents, US cents, like less than a penny. Now, a bitcoin today would cost you about £17,000, and that was 7 years ago.
Really? Just for one?
Yeah. So people who've invested, say, £10,000 in the last couple of years could well be millionaires now.
Yes.
But I don't want. I must repeat. I don't want any listener to take this as advice. You got to treat this as a gamble. And if any money you put in, you got to be ready and willing to lose all of it, like you'd be gambling on the horses.
It's like chips, isn't it? Really?
I think so. I mean, I have personally invested in bitcoins, but I've only invested small amounts, and I've made profits and sold. And I don't intend to invest again because I think the bubble has to burst sometime.
So, if you don't go through a stock exchange or monetary control, how do you sell them? Buy and sell them?
There are various organisations. If you do a Google search, there are various companies that will buy and sell bitcoins, but be wary. There have been some cases where people have actually literally lost their bitcoins, and you got to look at the reputation of the company. Do a Google search and go on chat sites, where you can get people's opinions about it, and only use the most reputable ones, if at all.
I'm quite confused about this, aren't you, Mike?
Well, yeah, I mean, if I want to open a bank account or a savings account or something, I can pop along to Barclays or Lloyds or TSB or any of the other banks, and you go in there and you do your business with them, and although that in itself is a heartache now, isn't it? You try and open a savings account for a great grandson, and it's nigh impossible, so, let him, get him along to sign, and sorry, he's only 6 weeks old, but bitcoins, I mean, you go onto the internet and there are companies that do it. So
there's companies where you can, but there's not only are there companies where you can buy and sell the bitcoins, but there's also a fund called the XBT Euro Tracker Fund, which I think you can get through a company called Hargreaves Lansdown. So you could even own it in your pension scheme or in an ISA. But as I say, I'd be very wary of it. Only invest a small amount of your wealth and money that you can afford to lose.
So how do you know how much you've got in your account? I suppose you haven't got an account, have you? How do you know how much bitcoins you've got at any one time?
Well, I'm not. This isn't a recommendation. I use a company called Coinbase, and they give you the ability to invest in 3 different types of Bitcoin, and you see your balance, and the balance tends to rise. It's very volatile. It rises and falls quite a lot, and you just transfer the money from your bank account or credit card into the account, and then they'll pay the money back to your bank account, the nominated bank account. So I think you just got to be wary you're using the right company. I'm very, very, very cautious about it at the minute.
But as you say, it's a total gamble, yeah.
It is. Now, if you'd invested 2 years ago and sold now, you'd be sitting pretty. You'd never need